If I don't believe in myself, then no one else will.
Hello there, it's me, Steve Mellor, and welcome in to Growth Ready, the podcast that allows high performers to reveal the reality behind what it means to ready yourself for growth, the personal and professional challenges along the growth journey, while also allowing the high-performance executive coach in me to satisfy his curiosity toward what drives optimal performance. Today, we get to welcome Anya Cheng, the founder of Taelor, a fashion AI tech company that is very much in high growth mode. Much like her company, Anya's story is one of a willingness to step into the unknown and be a representative for something or someone that isn't typically there. Because the way she sees it, what isn't known can be learned, as long as we are ready to grow where we have never grown before. Hey guys, as we get started here with the episode, I want to just take 1 minute of your time to make a request for you to subscribe and rate the show. For our show to be easily discovered by other potential listeners, we need our current listeners, that's you, to take the time to not only subscribe, but to also rate the show. Whether you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, whatever platform of choice, there are typically ways to be rating the show. So go ahead and click something like that 5th star and be sure to take that additional time to leave a comment or two about why it is you enjoy listening to the Growth Ready podcast. Your efforts on this will allow our show to be more discoverable, which means we're going to find more listeners and continue to have that significant impact on the community of human performance and personal development that I know you are all benefiting from by being listeners to this show. Please go ahead, take the time, subscribe, rate the show today. Hey, and while you're at it, why don't you share it with a few people as well? I appreciate you guys. Let's get to the interview. Hello there, and welcome into the most recent installment of the Growth Ready podcast. I am very, very much excited to welcome in Anya Cheng to this episode of the show. And as I've come to find out, Anya is very much eager and ready and waiting to answer the question that everybody has to ask when they come on this show. And I'm very intrigued to hear what Anya comes up with. So Anya, let's introduce you now to our audience. What does it mean to you to be growth ready?
I think for me, I am a new founder. So it's really to get to a bit better entrepreneur and founder. I have 15 years in a big tech companies experience before. I help build Facebook, Instagram, shopping for Meta, had a product for eBay, did a new business in Latin America, Africa, Asia on the product side. Senior director at McDonald's, build anything globally digital, so a food delivery app similar to Uber Eats, and help Target to build their tech office here in Silicon Valley. But being a startup founder in the AI space, I only have a few years of experience, so still learning a ton. And the key difference being that in a big tech company, almost everybody think very alike. People using similar frameworks, strategic process, using OKR and Scrum meetings. While being a startup founder, you interact with a lot more different people with very different background in terms of employees and partners and also vendor as well as for the investors. So dealing with very different people and obviously operating in very little resources. When I was working for Meta, people usually, no matter they're genuine or not, they like to talk to me. They want to work with Meta, want to get a job at Meta, or whatever things they feel like talk to you must be something good. So being a founder is very different because now nobody want to talk to me. Who heard of a Taelor? What's Taelor.AI? And you are nobody, even though you are CEO of a company. So for me, it took me a while to realize I no longer have that business card. People talk to me because I genuinely really deliver value. They really respect me because I'm a person who they respect, not because they whatever the benefit from there. And that took me a while to get adjusted. And I think I'm continue learning, and growth means that doing even better with this new role.
I love the answer because something you're immediately alluding to is the importance of approaching growth based on the current circumstances, based on where we currently are at. And I think that is something that sometimes people will answer this question very conceptually, they'll talk about the whole sort of scope of life. And not that your answer certainly could cover sort of an entire approach to life, don't get me wrong, but I love how you're immediately drawn to say, well, what position am I in right now based on my current circumstances that I've created for myself? And therefore, what should growth look like for me right now because of these current circumstances? So how important is it? Let's say we have fellow entrepreneurs, fellow founders, even just leaders in general that are listening to this right now. What would you say is so important about simply acknowledging precisely where you are today before you start considering what growth may look like in the future?
I think I think acknowledging, you won't really acknowledge it until you actually throw into the environments, right? So just like probably a growth athlete, you are not, you probably sometimes don't know until you're competing and realize everybody's so well, so good, and you realize you need to up your game. The same thing being a parent, and a lot of people, they're not ready until they become a parent. So the same thing for me, I think I never really know what even people told me you cannot really fully understand until you are in it. But I think once you're in it, the mindset really make a difference. For example, for Taelor.AI, when I started, I went on a startup competition. So in order to practice for the competition, I talked to 42 formal judges. And of course, my pitch was perfect. But then when the judge asked me questions about in a Q&A, I was stunned. I couldn't answer the question at all because all in my head, I was thinking, oh, judge practice number 37 asked me this question and I put the answer in appendix number 2. I didn't believe that I could answer the question. I was thinking, who told me the answer? I wrote it somewhere. And of course, I lost in the competition, but it helped me realize that if I don't believe in myself, then no one else will. So if as a founder, we do think about the problem all day long, or as an athlete or whatever you are competing, you probably think about this subject all day long. So you are probably really good. But if you are not believing yourself, no one else will. Or the mindset change, for example, when we start raising money, being a female founder, immigrant from Taiwan in the tech world, and came from background of data scientists and marketers, not executive engineering, I always feel a little bit imposter syndrome. And then the truth is, no matter how I feel, the fact is today, only less than 1%, like 1% of U.S. in fundraising dollar from venture capitals feel like put into behind female founder. In despite that 30% of U.S. business actually founded by women, they only get 1%. So for a while, when I talk to venture capitals, for some reason, only minority will get back to me. They are founder, they are immigrants, they are people who with colors, and they are people who are minority for something, and I was able to get the meetings, and only if you get the meeting, obviously you have the chance. So at the beginning, I felt frustrated. I feel like the life is not fair. This is not right. And I was angry about the world. But then I switched my mindset like, hey, okay, if only the world still favor majority, no problem, because there are a lot of minority. There are like in the UK, they are UK immigrants, right? They are Netherlands immigrants. They are immigrants from Japan, immigrants from Korea, from Brazil, and from a different part of the world. So, and there are a lot of minority. They are women. They are gays. There are many, many different type of minority. Depends on how you define minority. So if I can get all the minority behind my side, then I am majority. So I start talking to people who with those background or even with some similar background. And then quickly we raised over a few $1 million from top investor behind early investor of NVIDIA, TSMC, Hello Kitty, Spotify, Facebook, TikTok, Lyft, Instacart, and the founder of YouTube. So I think it's really important, the mindset change, and I think that helps into the situation.
There's something there that you said that I think is so inspiring and encouraging for anyone that finds themselves part of a minority. And I put myself in that. Like, again, people will sometimes say, you know, do you really consider yourself, you're British, American, we speak the same language. Like, do you really consider yourself to be an immigrant? And I use the example of my own business down here in Louisiana. I'm an executive coach here working with so many business owners, not only in Louisiana, but far outside Louisiana too. What's interesting, though, is as I build my business here more locally, it's not easy to be this. I'm also tall. Like, again, it's like I stand out. Louisiana's not a tall state. So I'm a tall guy. I got a funny accent. And then I try to start talking to people and to get people to simply focus on what I'm actually telling them as opposed to focusing on what's different about me. That can be really hard sometimes. But something you said that is so inspiring is, can we find more minorities? Can we find more folks to come around and surround us and turn minorities into majorities and feel as though you're part of something bigger, feel as though you're representing someone and something much bigger than yourself right now? And I'm curious, like, how does that encourage you and motivate you moving forwards? Now, clearly it was enough to get you to where you are in terms of some of this VC backing and things like that. But I'm curious more just moving forwards now, looking ahead, what does that do for you? How does that give you the belief that you need to sort of move forward and continue building what it is you've already started to build?
It's a great question. It's actually a DNA of Taelor. So now I'm founder and CEO of Taelor.AI, and we started by my personal problem, which when I was working for Meta as a female leader in tech, I was girls 40 under 40, didn't come from tech backgrounds. So, but I led large e-commerce team over time. So I feel imposter syndrome. And for that, I feel like at least I want to dress up. So being an executive coach, you probably know that when you're coaching people, the confidence make a difference. And confidence came from many area, and one of area, fortunately or unfortunately, is appearance. So people do still care your first impressions. That matters. We all see the movies. That's just true. People have very limited time to judge you and describe you. The appearance, where people will say executive present, your behavior really help and make a difference. So I started looking for option. Can I buy some clothes that looks better? So then I use a company like Stitch Fix or Trunk Club, which are like the company that offer clothing subscription boxes. They style you, but once you receive the clothes, you have to decide if you want to buy it or not. And I didn't like that commitment because I don't know. I'm not into fashion. This looks good on me or not. I don't know. And once I own that, I have to do laundry and ironing and folding, which I don't like either. So then I start using rental options, like company like Newly, which is a 500 million company in just 4 years, and Rent a Runway or more. All of those women's company, they are great, but then they require me to pick. Spend 3 hours picking. And I'm not fashion forward, and I don't want to spend time chasing after fashion. All I want to do is look great for my work, for my job, for my dates. So I started thinking, hey, most of fashion companies are not here to help people to achieve their goals. We should be having people to look good so then they can get a girlfriend, boyfriends, or getting a deals or getting a job, not look good for the sake of they like fashion. So that was the idea behind. I started doing research and found that a lot of people think like me, but they are all busy men with goals, single guys, salespeople, recruiter, pastor, professor, executive, people who are people facing, ambitious, want to do great, want to have growth mindset, want to be more successful, but they don't want to chasing after fashion. So back to your questions, I think this is a DNA behind Taelor. I built a company because I want to help more people to achieve their goal, and starting with their outfit. But then with that outfit, I think many times it gives people a peace of mind. Like I know that I looks like executive, no matter I looks like the part of the role. And so then with that, we partner up with over 300 fashion brands already. And then we work with a lot of, internally, we have human stylists who style for Oscar, and then we use AI. So then with just few stylists, we can scale and really have the best knowledge of styling for the people, and then make sure we help them achieve their goals.
It's such a cliche thing, right? You know, look good, feel good, but there's so much truth to it. You know, I think we could probably have a whole episode around the importance of looking good and feeling good. And the fact is that for me to ask a question about the importance of being supported to then move forwards and feel the belief you need to have to go and do what it is you want to do, something as simple as, hey, how are you being supported in the areas that deep down matter most? Because that's what you're saying here. It's like, hey, on some level, to the majority of us, we care about our appearance. We want to show up a certain way in a room. And because of the result of that, we want to have this confidence that we now can use to our advantage to achieve some of the things that we otherwise maybe wouldn't be able to achieve if we didn't have that confidence. And so I find it intriguing that on the surface, what seems like a really convenient offering, an AI tech entrepreneur who's now providing something that is a way for AI to dress you for success. On the surface, it sounds, wonderfully convenient. How cool is that? But deeper down, as you said, there are these principles in the organization that are founded on really some human behaviors that at the end of the day, if we want to perform at higher levels, there are areas of our game that we want to feel good about. And what you've addressed clearly is that we can actually do that through something as simple as more convenient ways of dressing ourselves, right?
Yeah, so we found that most of our customers, they are not here just looking good. They are here to get a job, get a day close deal. So most of our customers, they actually don't care what they wear. When we ask them what's in your closet, they only have Nike, Lululemon, Banana Republics, and Gaps. They only have been wearing the same brand again and again. And most of our customers will say, I would never wear pinks. And say, but then we might send them something, say, okay, I'll give you a free bonus item. Oh my God, this pink polo looks amazing on me. Can I buy 2 of them? So we find it fascinating. Most of our customers who are busy men, they really don't know what they like, what they need, or what it looks good on. And the power of rental is that just like your Netflix, unlike when you buy the DVD, if you're buying a DVD, you have to think, this Home Alone, I'll watch 5 times. Do I buy it? But when you watching a Netflix show, which you are renting those DVD, like watch it for 10 seconds. You like it, continue. If you don't, moving on. The same thing for rental, like let's say $100, you get to wear 7, 10 items. So then you don't have to commit. But then the best part of this is that on the other flip side for the fashion industry today, 30% of clothes go directly from factory to landfill, generating 10% of carbon emission, 20% of polluted water. Fashion is the most polluted industry in the world. So instead of keep buying new clothes or help the fashion brand to burn down those clothes, now those clothes can be rentable for people. So say amazing brand in UK, it might be wonderful and number 1 in UK, but people may not know them in the US or may not be available in the US. So instead of burning down those unsold inventory, now they send it to the US, we start renting to people and people get amazing brand that otherwise they have to travel around to buy. On the other hand, after people renting, because it's rental and subscription, so people tend to give feedback. So they say, the sleeve is too long because UK people are tall. So they give them feedback back, say, okay, this fit well with some people in the East Coast, but not on the other side of the house. So then they can know options of providing other options for the country, for the people who are in this country. And then it help them to produce a better collection for the next year. So then reduce the inventory. And many brands, as a result, they even send us their latest collection that is not yet mass production because they want to test the product. So good for the customer too, because now they can get what's trendy next year in advance. And so win-win for customer to look great, feel confidence and winning the jobs. Or literally last week, we have a customer, he say, I just want to make sure I have outfit for winning at core. I'm divorcing, I'm fighting for my children. And I want the outfit. I don't care what I wear, but I want the outfit that I can win at the core. And that's what our customer told us, where we have a customer say, I used to be a data scientist. This is my first interview being an engineer manager. I want to try to impress in this organization, but the organization is a tech company. I don't want to super stand out. I still want to feel fit in. Can you help me? And that's what we and our AI does every day.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. There's no doubt that just what Taelor's doing is going to be around for a long time. There's clearly a long runway, a significant demand for people being able to equip themselves to feel more confident about going and achieving their goals. I can see so much benefit to that. And I really want to focus more on your story now, Anya, and look more at something you said in that initial response to my first question. You talked a lot about just this need for us to learn sometimes how to operate with fewer resources, especially for a founder. Every founder listening to this right now is like, amen, Anya. Like, I've been there. It's me, myself, and I. No one's taking my calls. No one wants to invest, all this kind of stuff. So there's so many founders that can relate to that. But I'm just curious because I think anyone can relate to this notion of needing to find a way to get the growth that you want to achieve without necessarily feeling as though you have those resources necessary to grow. So for anyone listening to this, if you could just sort of replay some of those days when you were very much first starting out in this world, in terms of what does it look like for someone who really does feel completely isolated when you first begin, to just simply figuring out what some of those initial steps might need to be just so you can equip yourself with some, some of those early resources?
Yeah. So, how do we get our first customer, for example? So we start with, in the tech world, we call it minimum viable product, which is a product that can validate your hypothesis with minimal effort. For example, Amazon Echo, when they say, Echo play music. At the beginning, they don't have AI behind, because if people don't talk to Echo, then building AI behind have no point at all. So then they have real human behind the thing play music. They validate a hypothesis, people talk to machine, and which is their hypothesis. In our model, we start with a simple landing page on Shopify, paying $10, and now get on wait list for this amazing concept that AI style you. You pay monthly fee, get to wear clothes, and then once you're done, return the dirty clothes, get new ones. So one day there was a guy email me and say, "Hey, I'm Michael. Can you please bump me up to the wait list?" I ignored him because I thought he's a scam. We are nobody who really want our service. A month went by. Right before Christmas, someone called me. He said, "Hi, I'm Michael from San Diego. I'm a real estate agent. I really love the brochure on your website. Can you please bump me up to the wait list? I've been waiting for 2 months. You guys must be really popular." No, we are not. We're just not ready. And then, so we realized it's a real customer. We went to department store. It was before Christmas. Lots of stuff on sale. We bought everything's on sale, put into the post office box, ship it to him. "Hello, Michael." He became our first customer. With this first customer, what we learned was that we interview him, understand his role. Oh, he's a sales guy. He's a real estate agent, and he need to look great to impress his client. He's socially active, and he want to have no hassle for shopping or laundry. And then from there, we start testing with 100 people. Not many, just 100 people. We posting in Northwestern University and University of Chicago Alumni Club, which are my alumni school. And then we start talking to these 100 people. But the goal is to learn what they are looking for. So with that, we now have a learning of what we want to, where we want to spend money, and what our business plan should be. So we put together a business plan with what we learn from there. We start fundraising. So how do we get our first investor? So we reach out to start with our classmates, and because I start a company with my classmates, so it makes sense that we reach out to our professor. "Hello, professor, you teach us to be strategic and bold, and then you teach our finance. Now it's time for you to put your money on the on the table and support us." So with that, we start getting a few investors who are classmates and professor. And we asked professor to introduce with some investor. And he said, "I don't know anybody, but I can connect you to some of my other classmates who are founders. So they might know someone." So we talked to a founder, and the founder actually been using AI to build security camera. I was really genuinely interested in the concept and find it fascinating. And I introduced a lot of people to the founder. "You are looking for security company. Okay, I had a bodyguard in Nigeria, Kenya, Tanzania when I worked for Facebook and bring Facebook Wi-Fi to those countries. So let me connect you. Oh, you are interested in talking to people in the police station. I used to work for a company in Chicago, so I can connect you to my friends over there." So I connect with a whole bunch of people to him. A month went by, he circled back with me. He said, "Anya, thank you so much for introducing so many clients to me. By the way, how can I help?" I realized in my conversation with him, I forgot to ask him to introduce me investor. I was just wanting to help.
Yeah.
So then he come back and introduced me his investor, Link Capital, which is early investor of Lyft Instacart. So within half an hour, they put into $1 million. And that's how we raise and start the business. So sometimes give or scam opportunities there if you constantly tell people what you are looking for, but find opportunity to help people, people will circle back and help you. In terms of for our first supplier, So I thought if we get on news, the supplier should reach out to us. Yeah. So I went to TechCrunch conference, which is tech conference in the Bay Area. I wait outside the press room. As soon as the the reporter came out, I sent them my business card. No, at that time I didn't even have business card. It was just a random paper. And I really got a card from a company. It's called WWD, which is the trade publication for the fashion industry.
Okay.
After I went home, I follow up again. And she emailed me and say, please stop email me. I'm not in the topic. So life went on. And a few weeks after, she circled back to me. I was thinking, see, I told you it's a great idea, right? You changed your mind. I said, no, I still think the idea is dumb. But my colleague, for some reason, he really liked the topic. So I'm coming to my reporter colleague. You guys can talk. We had 1 hour conversation. It was fascinating. He really gets it, totally understands circular fashion, rental and resale, helping the world. And then I was really thinking that we will get on the cover page, but nothing happened. Follow up. Few months went by, nothing happened. So life went on. We went on startup competitions. We won the West Coast Championship, move on to a global competitions. And I was thinking that this is not really a news, but the competition is hosted by University of Chicago. And at that time, and I'm actually a Northwestern University faculty. Yeah. So I reached out to Northwestern University newspaper by students. And I say, hey, Northwestern faculty might win University of Chicago competition because the two schools do hate each other. So for student news, it should be somewhat news. So Student Magazine published the article. Somehow we took the article was picked up by ABC in Chicago. So we got on the morning show at ABC. And I took the ABC news and I sent it to the WWD, the trade publication reporter again. I say, why don't you send this to your boss? And you might want to publish the news article because now someone else did. And the next day we got a news come out. We sent news, we got one first supplier, which is a brand in Canada. And from there today, we have been working with over 300.
It's incredible how you're able to give an answer to that question, which each answer is different based on the first of each kind. So the customer, the investor, and also the supplier. To have three different perspectives there, I think is fascinating, because to break those down from a customer perspective, it's just like, okay, you have to be willing to simply consider people, consider who could be a good fit for you. Don't necessarily disregard who could be someone that could help you, because now going back to the investor side of things, that willingness to ask for the, not ask for the help, provide help, and in doing so, be able to create the door to simply tell people then what you need, what you want. And it's not that you're giving the help so you can get something in return. It's that authentic way in which you provided the help in the first place. You wanted to really help somebody, and you had true reason for providing that help, and you didn't necessarily make it something that needed to be returned. But when that opportunity came, you knew exactly what it was you could actually ask for, which I think is such an important part for anybody who's starting in any kind of position where they lack those resources. And of course, there's a relentless nature as well that comes through that supplier story. It's just like you weren't taking no for an answer. Even when someone gave you no for an answer, they said, well, it is a no for me, but I have somebody else that actually sees some sort of value in what it is. And so I find that part fascinating. And I'm almost curious now from your own perspective, when you look at the career that you built for yourself before going into this founder space. So you're someone who's worked with brands like Target, with eBay, with Facebook, like these are household names. How did some of those same traits that you've just alluded to there for a founder serve you when you were more of that employee as opposed to entrepreneur?
I think the important part for working for big tech companies is that you cannot convince anyone with your idea. Because everybody is an Ivy League graduate. They all went to Google, Facebook, Netflix, Amazon before. Idea is cheap. Like, why do I believe your idea? They're all very competitive. Everyone want to win the company. People are cutthroat, and because the performance reviews every 6 months, and they cut 20% of the company every 6 months in many years. So But in order to work with other people there, you have to convince them with your logic. If your logic is sound, then it makes sense for me to be part of this because I am also a logical person. So what's logic? For example, I will use a simple story like if you own a fruit stand. So you say, hey, we sell banana and strawberry and watermelon. And you say, I think we should put the watermelon outside the store because watermelon is heavier, so then no one can steal it and we will make more money. And while your intern say, I disagree. I think you should put watermelon inside right next to a refrigerator because we sell watermelon juice, which is higher margin. What does this mean? Means logically, both of you have the same goal, which is increasing revenue, and you have different strategy. Your strategy is reduce thief, increase margin, while the strategy your intern is to increase margin by selling more high margin items. And obviously the tactic is different. One putting watermelon outside, one putting watermelon inside. So when you are convincing someone in those companies, you have to peel an onion out and then really give them the logic, how you come to the answer. You might be a genius and you jump into answer right away. I really think we should do YouTube advertising. And people ask you like, why? It's like, oh, because for Taylor, for example, we are more long form because people need to ask us, okay, how your AI know my size? Okay, AI will look at your picture, your goals, and your fit issues, and you can hard and decide some items. Or people ask us, how am I wearing clothes that's pretty new? Like, yes, on average, when we run it 3 times, the item already gets sold. So most of stock still very new. And can I buy the clothes? Yes, you can buy the clothes because then it's after you buy, it's secondhand. So even if 10, 20, 30, 70% off, you get the try before you buy, and then you can actually still buy the clothes and support the environment. People ask us those questions. So then we say, that's why we should do long form content on YouTube, that you have to clearly explain your logic to convince someone. And that's something I think we still use it every day here, being a startup founder. Because we talk to our investor, we talk to partners. So they came from the very different industry. We work with like fitness center, dating site, matchmaking company, executive coach, or consulting firm. And then they all come from different backgrounds. So convincing them with your logic will make the conversation a lot easier.
Yeah. That is a new insight for this show, because we do talk a lot about curiosity and ideas and the role that can play in all aspects of growth. But to take it that one step further and insert the notion of logic, for someone who graduated from the school of logic just because of the family that I was brought up through and the city that I lived in, it was just like, if it didn't make sense, people let you know very quickly that you weren't making sense. And so for me, logic is one of the areas of the ideation process that often gets forgotten. And people do, like you said, I had this light bulb moment. I want to share it with everybody in the office. I want to tell the person right next to me. But what I'm hearing is that ability for us to actually ground an idea in the support, in the backing that you need for that idea to actually fruit and grow and become what it's capable of becoming. If you can't connect the dots and create that logic, then never mind convincing other people. What I'm hearing from what you just said there, Anya, is like, it sounds like you wouldn't be able to even convince yourself. Like, it's a great idea, but if you can't pitch yourself on something, if you can't find the logic in it for yourself, what are the chances of you ever being able to get an idea out to the world? And how important was that logic part for you in some of that topic that you shared earlier, that being able to find that belief in yourself? What kind of role has logic played in you building a greater self-belief so you don't have as much of some of these just inferiority complexes when you do go into certain rooms?
Yeah, is a question that if you don't have that, how do you build that?
Well, more so like how has logic allowed you to build the level of belief for yourself that you need to have in the work you do today?
I think that's really helpful because then sometimes many times you may be meeting with other people who think different from yourself. Without like clear logic, then you don't know what are you fighting for. Right. So for example, at Meta or even now could be like, hey, I think so. I really like the idea A and you really like the idea B. At Meta, what we do is how will you solve that? what we usually recommend people is that, hey, you bring your managers there. So 4 people, let's get into a fight. No, that's not what I mean. It was like 4 people. Before that, you put into a logic, say, hey, for example, what's our selecting criteria? Are we trying to make more money? Are we trying to increase the margin? Are we trying to attract more younger audience? Right? So if based on these selecting criteria, if we want to make more money, let's go with option 1. If we want to make more margin, let's go with option 2. If we want to get more customers, let's go option C. And unfortunately, sounds like you and I don't know what's our top criteria. That's why we bring our managers come in to help resolve it. So I think so once you have that in mind, you no longer feel like you are fighting with a person. It's not about you. It's about that, if we think that our selecting criteria is different than what I thought before, then yes, for sure, we should go with the other side. It's not about you and me anymore. It's about what's the right rule to select the result. So I select the strategy that we go after. So I found it very helpful because you kind of give you like confidence in mind, like I am coming in not because I'm trying to fight with you, is that this is my belief and maybe I'm wrong. And if so, please do tell me. And I think back to your show, this is a growth mindset, right? It's I don't know. This is what I believe today, but I might have missing information. If so, please let me know. The other things that I was recently in a conference and elite retreat by conference, and the speaker talked about something that I found it fascinating. They say when you are talking to people and convincing people through logics, you might want to also think about who are people on the other side. So they separate people to 4 different characters. One is a fighter, who are people motivated by challenges and get to the point, care about bottom lines. Then you want to convince them with numbers, like this will get you these margins. Or you might be talking to people who are entertainers. Entertainers are people who really like being recognized by other people, afraid of rejections. But they care about relationships. So you might have small talks. We went to the same schools. I went to Chicago, similar to Louisiana, also Midwest. We hired someone actually from Louisiana who is our product manager. That's true. He was our customer. He complained all the time, say, hey, I hate this website. And I reached out to him, say, why don't you come in to fix it? And he became our employee. Or like the third archetype was people who are more like detectives. They care about numbers. Show me the numbers, show me the truth, show me the facts. And for that, you definitely want to bring the logic analytics into it. And then last type of archetype, the speaker say was more counselor, who are people who really care about consensus among other people. So in that, you want to make sure you do bring everyone who the person care into the Zoom so you can make a decision together versus back and forth and then taking forever to make decision. So again, I think that helps me to know that where I am and what's missing in my conversation.
Yeah, I'm hearing a real commitment to self-awareness that you have in the work that you do, and self-awareness goes both ways, right? It's from the inside out and the outside in, and you're clearly trying to gain that greater understanding from what I'm hearing of just how do I show up, who am I when I show up, and based on certain situations, what does this situation ask of me right now? How do I make sense of this situation so that it can actually serve me and serve the organization long term? And I am really curious, just when you start to think about how early it still is in terms of the history of Taelor, for you now to sort of stop here and think, and because we are a growth podcast, when you look at growth, when you look ahead into the future and you start painting some of these sort of maybe ideal scenarios or some of these goals that you have out there in the future, what is it that makes you feel ready to go and pursue everything that you're starting to really get a visual for now of what is possible with Taelor? Why do you think you're ready, or what is it that's making you ready to go and achieve what you feel is possible with Taelor?
I think it's really back to our mission, right? So I think today, we help people to look great, and everybody want to achieve goals. You may or may not care about looking great, but most people have ambitious goal and in mind. The goal may not be career, could be life, could be a bigger and better person, could be some belief that they have in mind. And also today we are behind one of the biggest problem in the world, which is for fashion industry, which is predicting inventory. If you look at Shein, for example, they are $1 billion company. Why? Because they help to solve the problem that hard to predict inventory. So their solution was that, we only make clothes when we know the demand. But the problem is that they can only make jump because it's low quality and create another sustainability problem. So I feel confident that we are going this because I think both of these for consumer and fashion industry are both very important problem. I also believe that we are in the right time to solve the problem because if you look at solving the problem means you need style for the customer, but without AI, in the old time, you will need hundreds or not thousands of human stylists. And it's harder and harder to get great talents in all industry. So with AI now, each AI is equal to thousands of stylists and really know lots of information from thousands of garments. So I think that it's the right time and with the right problem. I also feel like it's also because we have amazing teams. My co-founder came from a pre-IPO company, help you Amazon Go and Starbucks and airline food delivery. So it's a heavy operation and came from the background in finance, auditing, and my background is technology marketing. We hire my old boss, head of AIs, and as head of AI from eBay. So here he was chief data officer at eBay before. So I think with the right team and right time, and also for consumer side, I think nowadays a lot more people accept the circular idea, like you don't own the DVD, but you are okay with Netflix show. You are not afraid of getting on Uber because in 20 years ago, it would be really weird to go on stranger's car, right? But share economy is there. And if you think of the second economy is everywhere because you go to restaurant, the spoon is actually secondhand. Someone already eat it for 100 times, right? And you go to hotel, you actually naked on the bed. There's 100 people slept there before. I think people nowadays a lot more acceptance for sharing economy. So in general, I feel that this is right trend, right time, and solving the right problem.
No, I love that. I love that. And I love how you've answered that from the perspective of Taylor. But before we wrap up, I would love to get Anya's response from Anya's perspective in terms of because you know what you're taking on. You don't need to disclose any of the information about the goals and the expectations for the company and what you want growth to look like. But I'm just curious, why do you as an individual feel as though this is your calling? Why do you feel as an individual this is now the time for someone like you to lead a mission like this that Taylor's obviously serving the...
I think for me, I feel like I found a home. It's funny to say that I'm over 40 years old and I never thought that I would be a founder until a few years ago. So throughout my career as an immigrant, it almost feel like I have to prove myself. Like I work for Sears and Target reach out. Target is more famous than Sears, so I joined Target. Target's role is head of product leading team, so versus Sears is smaller team, so I joined Target. And when go on eBay because go on McDonald because Target is only for US but McDonald is a global brand. My mom heard of it, so then joined McDonald. And then McDonald is not a tech company. eBay is a tech company, and being a tech leader, it makes sense to be a tech company. So joined eBay, and then Meta seems more cutting edge than eBay, so joined Meta. But I never really asked myself, what am I really passionate about? I just want to prove myself as an immigrant from Taiwan. I want people to know that I'm capable. But looking back, I realized I always draw into the situation where I am passionate for something that's 0 to 1. I help build Facebook, Instagram shopping from scratch. I help Target build their tech office. I help McDonald build food delivery business when Uber Eats just started. For some reason, I just love those 0 to 1, really chaotic environment. There's no clear rule. There's no optimization. There's little resources, but I like the excitement. I like the freedom and autonomy there. So I think that after I didn't know that means that I can be a founder, came from a blue-collar family. My dad is a factory worker. My mom is a housewife. I believe that only like wealthy people and rich kids can start their own company. But until 2 years ago, when I was invited to a conference to be speaking to a group of entrepreneurs on behalf of Meta and tell them about how to work with big corporations, I realized many founders actually similar to me have something passionate about and love solving problems and not afraid of building something from scratch. And there was a moment I realized, maybe I can be a founder. And I start get into understanding of the capital world that, hey, you can have investor. You don't have to have millions of dollars. You can have an investor who believe in your idea and get an investor like founder of YouTube to be on our side. So I think for me, I know this after many, many years. And so it's fascinating that you may not know yourself until very old, and maybe every day I'm still discovered a new me. I recently moved into a new house, and I really don't think I'm a gardening person. I'm very more like fasting, like let's go. And every minute I'm on a calendar, even I schedule my shower times on my calendars. But then I'm moving and they do have trees in the yard. And I actually argue with the landlord, say, can you get rid of the tree? And landlord say, okay, if you really don't like it, I will have my gardener to come help. And now I actually love it. I didn't know that I would love it. So I think discovering yourself is a never ending process. You will be surprised that you thought you are this type of person, but you are actually not. And something you didn't like, you actually like. I think it's just a process until you discover the trigger. So what I encourage and I regret will be when I was working for big tech company, because I never thought I would be founder. So I never really get involved with startup community. So my advice for people is you don't know what you really want. So just being curious, go talk to people, go meet new friends, and network with people who you're not familiar with. So next week, find a lunch with someone who you are loose with you, who is a loose tie. You might be surprised you come out with amazing insight and opportunity from there. Because people say the reason that how women network is we tend to network with people who we are familiar with, while men tend to network with people who are a little bit more loose tie. But unfortunately, that's where the loose tie give you the insight that you don't have otherwise, and which open up opportunity for your life, for your career. So encourage people to get out and meet more new friends. So like me, now I'm actively meeting with a lot more people who I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I'm so glad that I asked you to answer that from your perspective, because I think that in itself is going to be a major takeaway for a lot of people listening, and something that makes you incredibly relatable too is this idea of, believing that you have something to prove, and to understand that through that desire and that appetite to prove yourself, we put ourselves in position to learn something about ourselves too. So I'm hearing both sides of that. There's this ability for you to want to prove yourself, but you're not necessarily fully committed to the final plan of who it is you are, and you're allowing what's around you to keep you curious to eventually discover all of that. Listen, Anya, I knew this was going to be great insight. I'm really appreciative of it. I don't know where that 45 minutes went, but it flew by. But I appreciate all of the insights, the generosity with the insights, whether you're a business owner, whether you're someone who's simply working towards being a better version of yourself. There was something in here for everybody. Before I let you go, please tell everybody where we can learn more about yourself and Taelor, so that, especially men listen to this, we can get ourselves geared up and equipped to look the part, feel the part, and be more successful. So tell us all about it.
Yeah, go on Taelor.style, that's Taelor.style. Using the code podcast25, podcast25, you get 25% off first month. So no more shopping or laundry, always looks great. And holidays coming, the best gift is to give people confidence, give people time, give people executive assistant, or almost like the gadget guy behind the superhero. So use the code podcast gift. You can get 10% off gift card. And if you are AI investors, if you are menswear brands or partners, you might be amazing brand in UK. We would love to work with you. So reach out to me at Anya, that's Anya, at Taelor, Taelor.AI.
Awesome. Well, all that information is going to be available in the show notes as well. Anya, I appreciate it. I now know where I need to send a few people for my Christmas gift, because I know I'm a tough person to buy for. So I think I may have at least identified one thing that I can tell them, and they can get a little bit of a deal on it too. So I appreciate that. And yeah, again, appreciate it. Best of luck with everything with the company moving forwards, and just best of luck.
Thank you so much.
And my thanks again to Anya for joining us on the show today. I really appreciate when founders come on and they're able to answer a lot of my questions from that perspective of the business itself. And in Anya's case, she was able to do that in such a variety of ways. And then suddenly there at the end, I ask her a more direct question about herself. And she shares something that immediately captured the entire conversation, in my opinion. And it's this idea of being able to prove yourself, knowing that all these different avenues that you can potentially go down, whether you're a founder, whether you're a CEO, whether you're an emerging leader, whether you're just someone that takes growth really seriously, and that's why you're listening, the fact is, it is okay to want to prove yourself. For some reason, people have found a way to associate proving yourself with having a little bit of a chip on the shoulder. And I just don't see it that way at all. Because for me, proving yourself is truly the most amount of clarity that you can create when it comes to accountability, in my opinion. Because it's a challenge every single day. It's a recognition of internally saying, my value is great enough. My value at the surface is great enough so that I can truly represent that value each and every day. I see the value, I want to represent that value, and I want to go make things happen for myself that I know that value represents. In my opinion, that's what it means to prove oneself, to anchor why you show up and do what it is you do each and every day. And while Taelor, as a brand and as a service, is undoubtedly going to be doing that for a number of gentlemen looking to or wanting to look the part a little bit more consistently, specific now to Anya, I love how she's able to bring it all back to that original calling that she felt when she moved into the corporate space to do the work that she did for a long time, and now as an emerging entrepreneur as well. So I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. I took a number of notes, filled the paper, as I like to do from time to time. And there's so many reasons for you to be learning more about Anya and obviously Taelor as well. And I encourage you to do exactly that. But in the meantime, folks, as always, if you're still listening to us right now, that means one thing and one thing only: you enjoyed the episode. So why would you leave without letting others know that you enjoyed it? Go ahead and share this episode with someone. Go ahead and subscribe so that if you are a first-time listener, this is not the last time you're listening to the show either. Oh, and don't forget, we've got the better part of 300 episodes to go back and listen to as well. The material is consistently a 5-star level. And if it's a 5-star level, there's a one way for you to actually acknowledge that by clicking on that 5th star, whether you're listening to us on Apple or on Spotify, whatever that may be. But in the meantime, folks, as always, best of luck with anything and everything you've got going on in your world. And I look forward to doing this all again with you very soon. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to Growth Ready. If you liked what you heard and are feeling ready to grow, be sure to leave a 5-star rating, subscribe to the show, and share the episode with someone you know is ready to fuel their growth journey today. We love our community, so don't hesitate to reach out to us at podcast@growthready.com. And until next time, we are Growth Ready, and you will be too.